Please take a seat. So, Shruti, tell the panel about yourself, your academic qualifications, your work experience, if any, and your main hobbies, very briefly.
Okay, sir. So my name is Shruti Sharma. I have been a student of history. I was born in Bijnor, educated in New Delhi. I completed my graduation from St. Stephen's College, and currently I've just started my post-graduation in sociology from Delhi School of Economics. And I am constantly like to learn new things and explore new cultures through language, food, books, and cinema. And I'd like to see myself as an optimist.
With the Stephens, in your background, and with the Delhi School of Economics, both are so internationally known institutions. I do not know what you had in mind initially, but why civil services?
So there are a number of reasons why I want to pursue this profession. Firstly of all, sir, I believe that I have had a certain privileged background, and therefore I always wanted to do something in which I could give back to society in some way and bring about some sort of change in people around me and give other people an opportunity to have the sort of privileges that I have had, sir. Secondly, I believe, sir, that on a personal level, I believe the diversity and the scope that these services provide can be an avenue for great personal growth and an avenue for learning a lot, which it would provide me, sir.
Okay. So, Shruti, you are from Delhi. Now, how the safety of women, the perception about safety of women, has changed over the last, say, about 10 years, ever since Nirbhaya happened?
Yes, sir. So the Nirbhaya incident was a turning point in terms of the global discussion that happened around Delhi regarding women's safety. So, in a sense, it was the turning point, and a very bad incident set the precedent for a lot of good steps that were taken post that time period. So, a number of steps have been taken since that time period by the union government and the Delhi government in that regard, ranging from the Nirbhaya Fund to certain steps by the Delhi government to increase CCTV coverage and reduce dark spaces, to also increasing scope for better mobility for women, be it in the space of women marshals in the buses at that point. So I think a certain progress has taken since that time period.
Presently, even if suppose in the case of, say, Punjab or J&K, right,
Yes.
where Hindus are in minority, but the actual minority status is given to those who are in majority. So a PIL is in Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
The center has asked Supreme Court to consider this, that we would like to give minority status to Hindus in those states which I have mentioned. Now, since I have already given you an idea, what are your views about it?
So, the Constitution of India does protect the status of minorities in India as a whole. And so I believe if for certain purposes and for certain positive reasons, the Supreme Court does decide to give minority status in a particular state to reduce atrocities against certain sections within the state, it can be a positive move.
Viren sir?
Question, I'll take it on. You see, the Supreme Court does it. Supreme Court in no way is in a position to stop atrocities. It will only adjudicate a matter in view of the constitutional scheme. What does the Constitution provide? So how do you think it would stop atrocities on minorities, religious minorities at that?
So if it can provide in the future a certain safeguards that the minority status can provide and certain special steps that can be taken for minorities in a particular state.
Can you give any example when Supreme Court has provided safeguards, laid down safeguards? You heard of Vishakha's case?
Yes.
Okay. And you've been a student of history.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think, whom would you rate as a foremost historian of the later Mughals period? Who are later Mughals?
So I would say the period after the so-called fall of the Mughals or the decline of the Mughals, so post Aurangzeb, so would possibly be regarded
So you
as the
think
later Mughals.
beyond Aurangzeb are the later Mughals?
Yes, sir. So which are not considered so high and mighty in the course of their achievements.
Okay. Recently, there has been a talk. Certain people feel that there is a need to review and rewrite India's history. What is your take on that?
So I personally believe that the writing and rewriting of history has been a continuous part and parcel of history since time and forever. And I believe rewriting of history is always a positive step. But at the same time, I believe this rewriting should be based on certain facts that history recognizes and the range of sources that history as a discipline recognizes. So if the rewriting is done in that regard, it can only lead to more positive debate and discussion in the long term.
What do you understand by Warsaw Pact?
So the Warsaw Pact was a pact signed in 1955 in the context of the Cold War, led by the Soviet Union. It was a security pact formed in the context of the formation of the NATO and an opposition to the NATO, sir.
I have another question from history, on history.
Yes.
What was standstill agreement?
Sir, I can't recollect at this point.
Okay. Have you heard the term soft power?
Yes, sir.
What does it imply?
So soft power is usually used in opposition to hard power, where hard power talks about a certain military might. Soft power, on the other hand, is the influence of culture and other aspects in increasing the might or the influence of a certain country or power over other powers. So cinema can also be one example of
Any other illustration of soft power in context of India?
So India's cultural outreaches, for example, yoga and international celebration of the International Yoga Day across the world can also be an example of India's soft power.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Shruti, you are from your home district is Bijnor. So tell us something about Bijnor.
Sir, Bijnor is a district located in western UP, sir. The river Ganga flows through it. So it is a very fertile state. Sugarcane being one of the major crops of Bijnor, and therefore sugar mills and the sugar industry is also very well developed, with 5 of the most largest sugar mills located here. In terms of historical importance, the place Vidurkoti is associated with Bijnor. There are a number of prominent personalities from Bijnor, ranging from Vishal Bharadwaj in cinema to poets like Dushyant Kumar, to historical figures like Abul Fazl associated with Akbar, sir. So it is truly a very rich.
So, in your opinion, which is the very significant public policy initiative in the last couple of years by Government of India, which has done really, in your opinion, has done really well?
Sir, I think in the light of the COVID pandemic, the PM Ayushman Bharat Yojana has been very instrumental in expanding the public health infrastructure across the country and providing affordable healthcare to most sections of the population.
So in your hobbies, you have mentioned practicing yoga. So you do it every day or?
Sir, I try to.
Okay. So recently, one very important development has taken place with respect to traditional medicine. Are you aware? Last 1 week only, and